I can do my breath. Gabriel, what do you do? I can. Yeah. Don't know if I want to, but I can. You know, oops, sorry. I've done it before. What can do you prefer? I don't. Whatever you need. Okay, got it. I don't have a preference. Really?
Okay.
Take a screenshot. I just love your shirts. Every single shirt that I see you in, my teeth is all like, it's always like, I do have, well, I have one, like this one, and I have something like the white shirts on it, which I really love. But single marriage for sometimes for like Shabbat. Okay, well, I might ask you. So, I'm working on my collection too. Where do you get that?
En la que voy a tocar con él no toco porque es muy complicada.
Oh, I am just in case.
Ni yo la sé bien.
So I need to find very good.
Estuve practicando unas horas, pero millones de acordes. A ver.
I like how it's not, would you like an aliyah? It's, can you have, I just had an aliyah. Right, you know, unless you're short on people. Yeah, but for 5 minutes in this place is bad. But then I have to worry about it. You might call it all. Okay, so sign it.
Sure. How are you feeling, right?
Oh. Do you have a set list that you want to just kind of run through really quick? Just chat through? Start with Hinamato. Which Sadi Katama? Sadi Katama. Which I don't know very well.
No, Sadi Katamari.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now I know better. It's I'll figure that one. Aaron and you. Are we doing that? How you doing? Which Mika Mocha is this? Never heard that before.
You have.
Okay.
Actually, you play it also.
Whatever, I'll follow along. Is this Yisbuku the one where we do like the spaced out verses? Oh my God!
Yeah, that's the one.
Can I take over the timing during this?
Alvaro. It's a flamenco gig. So
okay. But if I'm singing, okay, well, we'll eye contact.
Coordinate with Alvaro.
Bishamru, I'm going to do my long vœux, okay?
So I managed to get Gabriel and Josh on board.
Great.
The three of us at home.
Is this Sim Shalom? Sim Shalom Tova. You don't happen to have sheet music for that somewhere, because I desperately want it, because I don't know the tune very well.
I don't know either. That's fine.
I mean, I'm not talking about for today, I'm talking about for, like, my life.
Yeah, we can work on that.
Okay, got it. We can work on my life.
Your life, yeah.
My life needs a lot of work.
At least that song.
Well, we started just.
Okay, easy.
Yes.
Oh no, do I need this?
Yeah.
Is this for me?
Yeah.
I really need a tablet that was so convenient for it. Maybe because I learned in Hebrew. Try to type faster. I hope this is stable.
So, Peter, I can do organ with the guitar. I can do organ with the guitar. It's a synthesizer. Like in a piano. Yeah. So.
After the lunch, I'll show you a few more pieces of maybe in due time we can include Friday night, Saturday morning service.
So here is just two chords.
No, I'm not. I'm visiting. Yeah, I live in I'll be helping out with music.
All the chords. Just sing slowly.
Very slow. Alright, well, nevertheless, she's more to running around outside. Okay. Well, I understand. I was like, no, I'm busy. Oh, really? I was very much the opposite. You can, if possible. I was always afraid that I was going to fall over and actually. I'd like to know.
The chords are beautiful, but it took me a few hours.
It's one of the masterpieces so far.
Yeah.
I don't have an hour anymore because I'm doing it professionally.
You change a lot in the melody.
Yeah. Do the beat fully part.
What, Ollie, or it's closer in America than where I actually So, wow. I'm sure it wasn't intentional, but
Millones de acordes. Me pasé unas horas con esta. Vamos a ver.
Didn't get a proper handshake when I came in. Hi. Hi, shalom. Oh, I need to
No, nothing. Yeah, don't destroy it, please.
Oh, you don't want me to kick your guitar?
No.
Are you sure? I'm very good at kicking guitar.
I mean, if you have to pick, just optimize your effort. Break the tablet, it's a lot more damage. Okay? Understood?
You are
I'm just thinking about your well-being then.
You're the optimization guy.
I mean, I think you can buy 3 synthesizers for the price of 1 tablet.
Okay, Shabbat
Vamos a
Shalom.
divertir ahora.
Chag Sameach. Let's
Have
begin.
fun.
Yes, nice to see
As we
you all.
always do.
The
As we
service
always
will be
do.
led this morning by
Bring this
Eva,
table.
with a little bit of help from all of us, because this week she's been deserted by the friends who are all on school holiday. But Eva's
Behind
bat
you.
mitzvah will be next week, and so we're very excited for that. Everybody is welcome
Thank you.
to join her. And she'll be leading us in the first. We're going to begin on page 188, 188. If you have two numbers in your prayer book, then please use the larger number. I will quote the larger number. You only have one number, that's the number. 188. Let's begin with Hine Matov Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad, page 188.
Ahí va. Dale. C minor. C minor. Lower volume del piano. More.
Page 192. How fair your tents,
E
O
minor.
Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel. And let's read in English at the bottom of page 195. 195. Don't let me fall as a stone falls upon the hard ground, and don't let my hands become dry as the twigs of a tree, when the wind beats down the last leaves, and when the storm raises dust from the earth with anger and howling. Don't let me fall. I've asked for so much, but as a blade of your grass is in a distant wild field, let's drop a seed in the lap of the earth and dies away. Sow in me your living breath, as you sow a seed in the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, rofeh kol basar, machliv la'asot. And we turn to the Nisim B'chol Yom, the morning blessings, page 198. 198.
So we ask that the words of Torah be sweet on our lips as well, just like the sukkah will be sweet on our lips. So let's read together at the bottom of page 204. O Adonai, our God, let the words of Torah be sweet in our mouths and the mouths of your people Israel, so that we, our descendants and the descendants of your people Israel, may know you by studying your Torah for its own sake. Baruch atah Adonai, hamlamed Torah le'amo Yisrael. Amen. Amen. We turn now to the Pesukei de Zimra, those verses of song. We turn to Psalm 92, Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat, page 214, 214.
Which version would you like to read?
Whichever one you feel moved, however the Spirit moves you, Gandhi.
Okay, Tzadik Katamar, Tzadik Katamar.
Dance version.
C minor.
You dance the whole to this
There's
one.
only one, yeah. Tzadik, Tzadik Katamar, Tzadik Katamar,
Eretz Balbanon Yisrael,
215. Alexander,
E
you
minor.
come to the front. Let's stand up. אשרי יושבי ביתך, עוד יעלנו חסלה. תחילה לדוד ובממך, אלוהיך מלך וחשיבך לעולם ועד. בכל יום גדול אדוני ומגדול מאוד, לגדולתו אין חקר. כל הדור ישלח מעשיך, גבורותיך יגידו. אתה הכבוד כבודך, בדברי נפלותיך עשיך. זכר טובך יביא ובצדקתך ילננו. אדון ברחום אדוני, ערך אפיים מתחסד. טוב אדוני להכל, ורחמיו על כל מעשיו. יודוך אדוני מעשיך וחסידיך ידוך. כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, וגבורתך ידברו. אתה גבורותיו, גבורתה מלכותו. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור. צודק אדוני לכל הנופלים, וזוכר לכל הכפופים. עינינו אליך יסברו, אתה נותן לכם את עופרם בעיתו. ודרך אליך ומשביע לכל רצון. צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסין בכל מעשיו. קרוב אדוני לכל קורח, וכל אשר ילכו באמת. רצון יראיו יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם. שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל ישמיע. תחילת אדוני יתהפך פי, לברך כל בשר שם כל שולל ועד.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
אמן.
ילמד דבחיותי וימלך מלכותי.
וחי כל יום אחד וחיי לכל בית ישראל.
ויתהדר, יתהלל, יתהלל שמי בקדושה. ואלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה.
טוש בחצה לחם עצה נביא רמלה
And in this synagogue we decided that Jerusalem is in this direction. We turn this way for the Baratul. Continue on page 228. Praise the you are now God, Son of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai. In wisdom you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. You praise Adonai our God for the excellent work of your hands. For the light you created, may they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we all may swiftly merit its radiance. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzei Hamaor. Over to page 230. Achava ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu en lagedula mitzvah amata aleinu v'ahavu avoteinu ve'imotenu she'atu becha she'atchu becha ve'lamnechu k'chayim k'techanenu v'lamanenu amrachem rachem aleinu v'ten libenu lechavi v'chavinu l'haskil lishmor v'lilvod v'lelamed lishmor v'la'asot ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך ואחריו וחרנו בתורתך ותעמדנו במצוותיך ויחד לבבינו באהבה וליראה את שמך ולא נבוש ולא נתעלם ולא
take my mark.
Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol levav v'kol nafshecha v'kol yodecha
והיו הדברים האלה אשר נותנים בצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם על בניך ודיברת ושיפטת בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובגמולך ובשבתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בלגניך וכתבתם על מזוז ביתך ובשעריך
למען תזכרו עשיתם במצוותיי וניתן קדושים לכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם. And let's continue on page 240 with Micha Mocha. Micha Mocha ein Adonai, Micha Mocha neder HaKodesh, Orat Milot, Oseh Let's read together. The good in us will win over all the wickedness, over all the wrongs we've done. We'll look back at the pages of written history and be amazed. And then we'll laugh and sing, and the good that is in us, children they prayed of, will have won. Our hearts beat with certainty that there is a day and an hour and a mountain called Zion, and that all of the sufferings will gather there and become song, ringing out into every corner of the earth from end to end, and the nations will hear it, and like the caravans in the desert, will all to that morning from Baruch Atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. And let's rise for the Amidah on page 242. We'll do first the silent Amidah, and we'll come back to the session between Cholam and Sukkot.
Adonai sefata tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. חסדים טובים וקרוב, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומגואל עיניהם, ומנשמו מהעם, מלך עוזר וציומם, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. לעם אדוני מחכה חיים וחסד, מחיים מתים ורחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומצהיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשדי עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות ומדומה לך, מלך מדינת ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכבוד.
מקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מהרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וכרזל זה ואמר.
קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות,
עדי עדירנו, אדוני אדוננו, מעדיף שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו, והוא ישמיענו, ורחמך לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, דור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ולנצח נצחים ושכחת להקדיש, ושכחת להקדיש. ושמך אלוהינו מהתמידו לא ימוש, לעולם לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please be seated. We're going to continue with Yismahu, page 200. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God, Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Find favor, Adonai, our God, with your people Israel, and accept their prayer in love. May the worship of your people Israel always be acceptable. God, who is near to all who call, turn lovingly to your servants. Pour out your Spirit upon us. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, ya'aleh v'yavo v'yizachem zikronenu v'zichron kol amacha beit Yisrael lefanecha, v'tovah lechein ol chesed v'rachamim, lechaim ol shalom. B'yom Hag HaSukkot hazeh, Zochreinu Adonai Eloheinu bo letovah. Amen. Ufogdeinu bo livracha. Amen. Vosheinu bo l'chayim. Amen. O God and God of our fathers and mothers, on this day of Sukkot, be mindful of us and all your people Israel, for good, for love, for compassion, life and peace. Remember us for well-being. Amen. Visit us with blessing. Amen. Help us to a fuller life. Amen. ותחזינה עינינו בשבחה לציון ברוך חמים ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר שכינתו לציון. Amen. Read together 256. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai our God and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning and noon. O good one whose mercies never end, O compassionate one whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Baruch Atah Adonai, Atah Shimcha V'lecha Na'ed. Sim Shalom, page 258.
Sim Shalom, Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha. Ve'en chesed rachamim aleinu v'yavo Yisrael amecha. V'cheinu yatseinu klanu ke'echa le'or panecha. Sim Shalom, Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha. Ki me'or panecha natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, Torat chayim ve'ahavat chesed u'tzedaka uvracha rachamim v'chayim ve'shalom. Sim Shalom, Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha. V'tov beinecha levarech et amecha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה ישלומך. Sim Shalom, Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha. Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Sim Shalom, Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha. Baruch Atah Adonai Melech Shemay Yisrael V'Ashar. Amen. Amen.
Be mine.
Hallelujah.
turn now to the Hallel on page 560, which is going to be led by Peter here. Who has had chance to shake a lulav this Sukkot? Hands up. Okay, a few of you, but not very many. Lulavs and etrogs are quite hard to get your hands on them. We complain about this in the diaspora, but we have a couple here in Sukkot. I know that this year in Luxembourg they forgot to order the lulavs, and so it was a big problem. Someone had to rush to Brussels at the last minute to drive in some lulavs so that the good Jews of Luxembourg, my own community, could celebrate with a lulav and etrog. Actually, it's quite hard to get your hands on a lulav and etrog in Israel, believe it or not. I'm sure in Jerusalem it's much easier, but where I started the festival in Haifa. Actually, it was a bit of a problem, and we only managed at the last minute. One of my friends managed to get me a lulav and an etrog from the supermarket of all places. It was the last one in Rami Levi supermarket in Haifa. So we were very lucky. It was a Sukkot miracle. Very happy about. As I say, luckily we have two here. We did have three, but one I think is still in the sukkah. One of them is still perfect. This one, you have a perfect etrog here. Smells good. But for those of you who'd like to shake this morning, we're going to shake during the Hallel. You haven't had a chance to shake yet. This one is still perfect because you can see at the top of it, it has a piton. It's still perfectly intact. Whereas this one, my team of gabbis has lost its piton on the festival. I don't know what happened. Come here. So this one we shouldn't, it's not really perfect anymore, but we're still going to use it because we are good Reform Jews. The same way that as good Reform Jews we're going to shake on Shabbat, there is a prohibition against it traditionally because of carrying the lulav and etrog to shul. You wouldn't shake. But I think as a Reform rabbi, for me it's definitely better that you shake the lulav at Sukkot, whether it's Shabbat or any of the other days, rather than not shake the lulav just because it's Shabbat. So we're going to stand up. Peter's going to lead us in the Hallel, and we're going to shake our lulav and etrog. If someone would take one, then you can shake this one. Lulav in your both together. Be careful of the piton at the top. Tova, would you like to take this one? I'm afraid your one isn't as perfect, but hey, that's how it is. Do we know which way to shake them in? There are a few schools of thought on this. We have to shake them to the east, to the south, to the west, to the north, to the heavens, and to the earth. And that's kind of the order I normally do it in. If anyone knows which way east is, that would be helpful. As we said, we pray towards Jerusalem. Matt is saying this way's east. That's sense, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna follow Matt this morning. That's one of the newest fathers in our community. So we're going to start with the blessing. You're going to lead us in that too? Yeah. Great, okay. So please, once you've done and you've shaken, pass it around so everyone gets a chance to shake this one.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et ha'aleh. Amen. Hallelujah, hallelujah, avdei Adonai. Hallelujah, et Shem Adonai. Shem Adonai mevorach me'ata ve'ad olam. ממזרח השמש מבואו, מהולל שם אדוני, רם על כל גויים אדוני, על השמיים כבודו. מי כאדוני אלוהינו, המקביל לשבת, המשאיר בשמיים ובארץ. מקימים מעפר גל, מאשפות ירים אביון, נדיבים נדיבים, עם נדיבי עמו. מושיב יקר לבית, הם הבנים בשמחה, הללויה. בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם הארץ,
Adonai Zacharanu Yevarech et Beit Yisrael, Yevarech et Beit Acharon, Yevarech Ilei Adonai, הקטנים מן הגדולים, יאסף אדוני עליכם, עליכם ועל בניכם, ברוכים אתם לאדוני, ברוכים אתם לאדוני, עושה שמיים וארץ, השמיים שמיים לאדוני, והארץ נתן לבני אדם, לא המתים יחללויה, ולא כל ידי דומה, ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם hallelujah. How can I repay tonight for all God's bounties to me and raise up the cup of deliverance and invoke the name of Adonai? I will pay my vows to Adonai in the presence of all God's people. The death of God's faithful ones is grievous in Adonai's sight. Adonai, I am your servant, the son of your maidservant. You have undone the cords that bound me. I will sacrifice a thanks offering to you and invoke the name of Adonai. I will pay my vows to Adonai in the presence of all God's people, in the courts of the house of Adonai, in the midst of Jerusalem. Hallelujah.
Mashiv Adonai, Kol Tagmulo Yalai, Os Yeshua Tesah, Ubeshem Adonai Yekara, Nedarai Ladonai, Ashalem Nekdana Lechol Amot, Yakar Be'enei Adonai, המוות על חסידיו, ענה אדוני, כי אני עבדך, אני עבדך בן אמתך, פיתחת למוסרי, לך אזבח, זבח תודה, ובשם אדוני אקרא, נדרי לאדוני אשלם, נקדנה לכל עמו, בחצרות בית אדוני, בתוכך ירושלים, הללויה.
Hallelujah, Adonai, kol goyim, shabaku kol haumim, ki gava aleinu chasdo v'emet Adonai leolam, hallelujah. Hodu l'Adonai ki tov, ki leolam chasdo. Hodu l'Adonai ki tov, ki leolam chasdo, ki leolam chasdo, yomruna Yisrael, ki leolam chasdo, yomruna Yisrael, ki leolam chasdo, ki leolam chasdo, יאמרונה ואת אהרון כי לעולם חזו, יאמרונה ואת אהרון כי לעולם חזו, כי לעולם חזו, יאמרונה ירא אדוני כי לעולם חזו, יאמרונה ירא אדוני כי לעולם חזו, לעולם, כי לעולם חסדו. מלחמי צקרתיה הענני ומחדיה, אדוני לי אלוהי והמעשה לי אדם. אדוני לי בעוזי ואני ערב שונאי, טוב לעשות באדוני, לפתוח באדם, טוב לחסות באדוני, לפתוח בנדיבים. כל גויים סבבוני בשם אדוני כי עמילם, סבוני גם סבבוני בשם אדוני כי עמילם, דרכו דחיתני לנפול ואדוני עזרני. עוזי וזמרת יד, ויהי לי לישועה. 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 כל בינה וישועה בכל צדיקים, ימין אדוני עושה חיל, ימין אדוני רוממה, ימין אדוני עושה חיל. לא אמות כי אחיה ואספר מעשיה, יעשו ישרניה ולמוות לא נתנני. יפתחו לי שערי צדק, אבוא בם הודיה, הודיה. יפתחו לי שערי צדק, אבוא בם הודיה, הודיה. אבן מעשו הבונים הייתה לראש פינה. אבן מעשו הבונים הייתה לראש פינה. את אדוני הייתה זאת, היא נפלאת בינינו. את אדוני הייתה זאת, היא נפלאת בינינו. זה היום עשה אדוני, נגילה, נגילה ונשמחה בו. זה היום עשה אדוני, נגילה, נגילה ונשמחה בו. אנא אדוני הושיענה, אנא אדוני הושיענה, אנא אדוני הצליחנה, אנא אדוני הצליחנה. ברוך הבא בשם אדוני, ברכנוכם מבית אדוני אל אדוני, ויער לנו ישרוך בבוטים עד קרנות המזבח. אליתה ועודקה אלוהי ארוממך. הודו לאדוני כי טוב, כי לעולם חסדו. הודו לאדוני כי טוב, כי לעולם חסדו. All your works will praise you, Adonai, our God, and your faithful ones, the righteous who do your will. And all your people, the house of Israel, thank you in joyous song. And bless, praise, glorify, exalt, extol, sanctify, and proclaim the sovereignty of your name. For it's good to give you thanks and to sing praises to your name, because throughout all time to eternity you are God. Praise to you, Adonai, sovereign, praised in song Baruch, at Adonai, Melech Mukhalal, Batish Bachot. Amen. Great. Please be seated just for a little minute. Andrew, if we have to pass out the Chumashim, the red books from here. We're moving to the Torah service, which is on page 362. Madam Ramsey, if you could just take the legs off the beamer. Great. Thanks. Okay, so we're on page 362.
When nature calls, humans know what the words are.
Okay, kids, you're going to stay and read the Torah, or you're going to evacuate? Next week. Very good. Well done. Tiffany this morning? Great. Ready? Wonderful. So please rise. We're on page 362.
I know. Oh, I know both.
Ein kamacha ve'elohim Adonai v'ein k'ma'asecha malchutecha malachut kol ha'olamim u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yoch le'amayim Adonai hos gamo yiten Adonai barech et amo v'shalom Avavachamim heitiva v'tzomach ha'etzion Tibnei chomot Yerushalayim Ki v'chal vat batachnu Melech Elam v'nisa Adon olamim Adon olamim Ki Zion tetzeh Torah Ki Zion tetzeh Torah Ulevad Adonai miYerushalayim Baruch shenatan Torah li'amo Yisrael b'kedushato
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo
Gadlu Adonai Eti Ruma Shemo Yachar
Lecha Adonai HaGedolah v'Hagdula Lecha Tiferet Lecha Netzach v'Kavod Ki chol b'shamayim v'haaretz Lecha Adonai HaMelech Lecha mitnasek Le'ol lerosh Romemu Adonai Eloheinu V'shtachadu Lecha Kosho Romemu Adonai Eloheinu V'shtachadu Lecha Kosho Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Please be seated. So our Torah portion today, we're going to take the traditional portion for the Shabbat in Sukkot. It can be found Exodus 33 verse 12 to Exodus 34 verse 26. A small prize for the person who gets the page first. You can tell the others in the Chumash, Exodus 33,
What's the price?
verse 12. Oh, you're only doing it for if you know what the price is? Okay, always one. It's always one.
5:38.
Thank you. Your prize will come. Ostensibly, this is our Torah portion for Sukkot, because at the end of the Torah portion, it mentions the celebration of Sukkot. It mentions Pesach, it mentions Shavuot, it mentions Sukkot as our three harvest festivals. And Sukkot is described as the feast of gathering, the feast of gathering of the harvest. And of course, we know that the harvest season begins with Pesach and ends with Sukkot. Half the year is spent harvesting, the other half spent sowing, and that we're moving now, as we know so well in Singapore, from summer to winter begins in a few days, and I'm sure we'll feel that change dramatically. At the same time, Israel does get the rain at the right time, and people are very happy when the rain comes, and the first rains have come, so there'll be no need for fasting this year, which is of course a very good thing as well. So ostensibly that's the reason for our Torah portion, but on reading it a little bit more closely, I think there's another connection to Sukkot with this Torah portion as well, and that is that Sukkot is somehow the festival of insecurity. Okay, somehow Sukkot, which takes us outside of our homes, which takes us outside of our lives, into the sukkah, from what seems permanent in our nice condos to what seems transitory, and enables us to get out of our box, to get out of our lives and have a look in at our homes, at our nice lives. This is Sukkot too. And there's a lot of insecurity in our Torah portion. It starts off by Moses saying, well, hey, if I'm leading the Israelites, who's going to lead with me? Who's going to accompany me? I can't do it by myself. No one will take me seriously. And God says, okay, I'll be there. I'll come with you, no problem. And Moses then has another question, saying, well, I need to see you. I need to be able to see you, to understand you. How can I lead? How can I lead without seeing you? And God says, well, you can't see me, you see my face, but if we hide you in the cleft of a rock as I pass by, then maybe you can see my back. So Moses is very insecure at this moment in his leadership. Not only who goes with me, but I need to see you. All these kind of questions. And then as the narrative continues, suddenly we realize that where are we in the story? We are after the story of the golden calf, just after the story of the golden calf, after the time when the tablets of stone have been broken and smashed, after the people have sinned. This is our Yom Kippur Sukkot connection as well. And Moses is kind of insecure with these shattered tablets of stone, which then God says, hey, I'm going to make you 2 new tablets of stone, 2 fresh tablets. You'll carve them, and they will be carried along with the broken tablets, as we know later, in the ark, along with the people. So we're at this moment of we've sinned, we've messed up, the tablets are broken, but we're very insecure, but God gives us that reassurance that there'll be fresh tablets, and the story will continue. So this is where we are in the Torah. Later on, in lieu of a Haftarah, we're going to read the Megillah for Sukkot. Now, those of you who think a Megillah is only for Purim, when we read the Megillah Esther, no, actually there are 5 Megillahs, 5 Megillot, one of them for Pesach, one of them for Sukkot, one for Purim as well, and 2 more. But for Shavuot, for Tisha B'Av. But the one we read at Sukkot is the book of Ecclesiastes, the book of Kohelet. And we're going to read it in its entirety. It's going to take a little bit of time today, but you have to indulge me, because this has been one of my favorite books of the Bible since I was a teenager. I think some of it fits teenagers very well, so hopefully they'll read it with interest too. Because it's a critique, it's a challenge to the Deuteronomic theology, which says, if you work hard, if you follow the rules, you'll get rewarded. If you do badly, you get punishment. And Ecclesiastes really throws a spanner into the works for that text by saying, well, it doesn't really matter what you do, it's all a waste of time, it's all futility, it's all boring, it's all whatever, it's all cover, it's all breath. which I think fits the teenager, but actually is quite a deep critique of everything we do as well. So we're going to read that afterwards, but first we're going to read the Torah. Matt is going to make sure we begin and end in the right places, and Nancy's going to call some people up. Okay, so let's do it.
יעמוד ברוך בן דוד ראשון ומיקה בן ברוך
ברוך המברך אליו בעת
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'barakav ka'amim v'natamanu et Toratav Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. ויאמר משה אל אדוני ראה אתה אומר אלי העל את העם הזה ואתה לא הודיעתני את אשר תשלח עמי ואתה אמרת ידעתיך בשם וגם מצאת חן בעיני ואתה אם נא מצאתי חן בעיניך הודעני נא את דרכיך ודעה למען אמצא חן בעיניך וראה כי עמך הגוי הזה ויאמר פני ילכו וחנכותי לה ויאמר אליו אם אין פניך חולכים אל תעלנו מזה ובמה יודע אפוא כי מצאתי חן בעיניך אני ועמך חלול בלכתך עמנו ונופלנו אני ועמך מכל העם אשר על פני האדמה.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet b'charei olam atah b'tzidkenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Matt, we're delighted to have you and Lauren as very new members of our community, and especially your son Theo, who was born on Kol Nidre and was brised yesterday, so big mazal tov to you and your family, including your father Barry, who's here at the Torah with you as well. It was a very emotional moment being watching that bris yesterday, I think, seeing the Dor Vador really pass from one generation to the next. So we wish you both a big mazal tov, and to your wives, and of course also to baby Tao, who is no longer the newest member of our youngest member of our community, because we had a baby boy born since then to Aurora and Adam Kamenetz. Days ago. So Mazel tov.
תעמוד סימונה בת רחל ושמואל שניה
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר עכשיו בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן. אמן. ויאמר אדוני אל משה גם את הדבר הזה אשר דיברת אעשה כי מצאת חן בעיני ודעה בשם ויאמר חרני נא את כבודך ויאמר אני אעביר כל טובי על פניך וקראתי בשם אדוני לפניך וחנותי את אשר אחון ורחמתי את אשר ארחם.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת ויך עולם נצא בתוכנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, נותן התורה.
So we're very excited to be celebrating Eva's bat mitzvah next week. We wish you and the family a big mazel tov from all the community in anticipation of that big day. Probably doesn't feel so long since her birth, 13 years ago. But there's new parents to experienced parents now, and we see all the stages of life. Yeah, we just wish you big mazel tov and Eva a big voice next Saturday. Big voice.
Thank you.
יעמוד דניאל בן דוד בשירה שלישי.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
ויאמר לא תוכל לראות את פניי, כי לא יראני האדם וחי. ויאמר אדוני הנה מקום אותי איתי ונצבת על הצור, והיה בעבור כבודי, ושמתיך בנקרת הצור, ושחותי כפה עליך עד עברי וחסרותי את כפי, וראית את אחרי ופניי לא יראו.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Dan, talking of big voices, it's always a pleasure to have you with us in Singapore. For those of you who don't know him, Dan lives in Bali, Indonesia, where he's one of the leading lights in Kilat B'nai Chof, the beach boy community. She leads there with a plum, and it's a big pleasure every time he comes and adds to our music here in Singapore. So thanks very much.
יעמוד יונתן בן אלן רביעי.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך אדוני
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. Yes, Baruch Adonai Hamrach Le'olam, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך Adonai נותן התורה.
אמן. ויאמר אדוני אל משה, פסל לך שני לוחות אבנים כראשונים, וכתבתי על הלוחות את הדברים אשר היו על הלוחות הראשונים אשר שיברת, והיה נכון לבוקר, ועלית בבוקר אל הר סיני, ונצבת לי שם על ראש ההר, ואיש לא יעלה עמך, וגם איש אל ירא בכל ההר, גם הצאן ובבקר, אל יראו אל מולכך.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Ian, it's very important that you get in your mitzvah training early, to go well with lessons, and that you can read in the Torah. So it's wonderful to see you at the Torah, of course alongside your father, who was a pleasure to see as well. And I believe that both your father and mother have changed jobs recently and taken on new roles and new companies even, and we wish them big mazel tov so that they can continue successfully with that and continue to bring you to Torah.
We can do it instead.
יעמוד מתיתי בן יהודי יצחק חמישי. ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן. ויפסול שני לוחות אבנים כראשונים, וישכם משה בבוקר, ויעל אל חר סיני, כאשר ציווה אדוני אותו, ויקח בידו שני לוחות אבנים, וירד אדוני בענן, ויתייצב עמו שם, ויקרא בשם אדוני, ויבוא אדוני על פניו, ויקרא אדוני אדוני אל רחום וחנון, ארץ כפיים ורב חסד ואמת, נושא חסד אלפים, נושא עוון ופשע, ואתה ונקה לא ינקה, פקוד עוון אבות, על בנים ועל בני בנים, על 30 ועל 40, וימחר משה, ויקוד ארצה, וישתחו, ויאמר אם נא מצאתי חן בעיניך, אדוני ילך נא, אדוני בקרבנו, כי עם כשעורף הוא, וסלחת על עווננו וחטאינו, ונחלתנו. ויאמר הנה אנוכי כרת ברית נגד כל עמך, אעשה נפלטה אשר לא נבראו בכל הארץ, ובכל הגויים וראה כל העם, אשר אתה בקרבו את מעשה אדוני, כי נורא הוא אשר אני אעשה עמך.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Man, it doesn't seem so long since your bar mitzvah, which was one of the first that we celebrated. At least that I celebrated the community here in Singapore. I'm sure Scott remembers working with you on your Devar Torah, and everybody who was there enjoyed it. It's amazing now to see you as Singapore's newest Jewish soldier. Wow. You're defending our country, which is a wonderful thing. You aced your way through the first stages of basic training into the main corps of the army, and we wish you a very peaceful and safe career in the army, and do the work that you need to do to defend us. So, great to have you at the Torah, and never stay far from it when you're even in the battle.
יעמוד סקוט בן אברהם ושרה, שישי.
Baruch
Adonai Hamburach Olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. שמור לך את אשר אנוכי מצווך היום, הנני גירש מפניך את האמורי והכנעני והחיתי והפריזי והחיבי והיבוסי, ישמר לך פן תכרות ברית ליושב הארץ, אשר אתה בעליך פן אדוני למוקש בקרבך, כי את מזבחותם תתוצון, ואת מצוותם תשברון, ואת אשריו תכרתון, כי לא תשתחווה לאל אחר, כי אדוני קנה שמו, אל קנה הוא, פן תכרות ברית ליושב הארץ. וזונו אחרי אלוהיכם, וזבחו לאלוהיכם, וקרא לך, ואכלת מזבחו, ולקחת מבנותיו לבניך, וזונו בנותיו אחרי אלוהיכם, ותזונו את בניך אחרי אלוהיכם, אלוהי מעשיך לה תעשה לך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tokenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Scott, it's wonderful to see you at the Torah, not only in honor of Master Torah from many years ago, your help with that, but your long service to the community, first both with the newsletter and the last couple of years with the secretary. We have an AGM coming up next month, and I believe you may be stepping down from your role, or it may end up being like the newsletter when Scott was stepping down from his role for the best part of 2.5 years, but no one could be found to fill his very large shoes, and so we continued. So we'll see how that goes, but we wish you well in either case. As some of you may know, Scott is also conducting a survey now of the community, and will be chasing some of you who are in his sights who have yet to fill in their surveys. We have about 190 completed surveys from adult members of our community, and we have about 70 to go, I believe. And so Scott will be gunning for you if you haven't completed the survey after the service, in a very peaceful way.
יעמוד יעקב בן ברוך נתן שבי אחרון
Baruch es Adonai Hamborah.
Baruch
Baruch Adonai Morach Leolam Ba'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'nosa lanu es torato. Baruch Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Et Chag HaMatzot תשמר 7 ימים תאכל מצות אשר זיוויתיך למועד חודש האביב כי בחודש האביב יצאת ממצרים כל פטר רחם לי וכל מקנך תזכור פטר שוב בשה ופטר חמור תפדה בשה ואם לא תפדה וערכתו כל בכור בניך תפדה ולא יראו פני ריקם 6 ימים תעבוד ויום השביעי תשבות בחריש ובקציר תשבות בחג 7 תעשה לך בחורי קציר חיטים בחג האוסיף תקופת השנה 3 פעמים בשנה יראה כל זרעך את פניך אדוני אלוקי ישראל כי אוריש גויים מפניך וכיכבתי את גבולך ולא יחמוד איש את ארצך ועלותך לראות את פני אדוני אלוקיך 3 פעמים בשנה לא תשחט על חמץ דם זבחי ולא ילין לבוקר זה בחג הפסח ראשית בכורי אדמתך תביא בית אדוני אלוקיך לא תפשול גדי בחלב עמו
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nasa lanu Torah shemet b'chayei olam nasa b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Yeah, we call you to the Torah not only in honor of Torah, in honor of Shabbat and the community, but also in honor of your teacher, your Rabbi Lee Diamond, who passed away this week. A very large figure, not only in the community of Hong Kong, but one of the rabbis of Nifty, and had a huge impact on many Jews around the world, coming to Israel on trips, amongst many other things. And we're going to give you a chance to say a few words about Lee as well. Thank you.
In honor of all those called up, I'll say a Mishabera. Mishabera, Chavatenu, Himotenu, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Hu Yivarech, Atakal, Hazeba, Avur, Sha'alu, Lichvod HaMakom, V'lichvod HaTorah, Yischar Zeh HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yismereihem, V'yitzleihem, Mikol Sarah, Utzuka, U'michal Negeh, U'machala, V'yishlach Baracha, V'hatzalacha, B'chol Ma'aseh Yadehem, Im Kol Yisrael, V'nomar, Amen. And for the prayer for healing, Gabby would like to lead us in the singing of it. which is on page 253, 371.
יעמדו המגביה והגוללת, דוד אריאל בן אברהם שמעון ואלישבע בר-חנה.
Please rise for the Hagbah. Please be seated. As I said, we're not going to have the Haftarah today, but we are going to read the Megillah for Sukkot, the book of Kohelet. We have about 20 copies here, so if you could pass them around one between two. And I think we need 11 volunteers, one to read a chapter each in a big loud voice. So Ben, would you please take it away?
We're just right from the start here?
Right from the start, reading from left to right.
The words of Kohelet.
Yeah.
Forgot his reading glass. The words of Kohelet, son of David, king in Jerusalem. Utter futility, said Kohelet. Utter futility. All is futile. What real value is there for a man in all the gains he makes beneath the sun? One generation goes, another comes, but the earth remains the same forever. The sun rises and the sun sets, then glides back to where it rises. Southward blowing, turning northward, ever turning, blows the wind. On its rounds the wind returns.
Someone else.
All streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place from which they flow, the streams flow back again. All such things are wearisome. No man can ever state them. The eye never has enough of seeing, nor the eye enough of hearing. Only that shall happen which has happened, only that occur which has occurred. There is nothing new beneath the sun. Sometimes there is a phenomenon which they say, look, this one is new. It occurred long since in ages that went by before us. The earlier ones are not remembered. So too those that will occur later will no more be remembered than those that will occur at the very end. I, Koheleth, was king in Jerusalem over Israel. I set my mind to study and to probe with wisdom all that happens under the sun, an unhappy business that which God gave men to be concerned with. I observed all the happenings beneath the sun, and I found that all is futile in pursuit of wind, a twisted thing that cannot be made straight, a lack that cannot be made good. I said to myself, here I have grown richer and wiser than any that ruled before me over Jerusalem, and my mind has zealously absorbed wisdom and learning. And so I set my mind to appraise wisdom and to appraise madness and folly. And I learned that this too was pursuit of wind. For as wisdom grows, vexation grows. To increase learning is to increase heartache. A little sad for me to read.
Neil, would you continue? Chapter 2.
I said to myself, come, I will treat you to merriment, taste mirth. That too I found was futile. Of revelry I said it's mad. Of merriment, what good is that? I ventured to tempt my flesh with wine and to grasp folly, while letting my mind direct with wisdom to the end that I might learn which of the two is better for men to practice in their few days of life under heaven. I multiplied my possessions, I built myself houses, I planted vineyards, I laid out gardens and groves in which I planted every kind of fruit tree, I constructed pools of water enough to irrigate a forest, shooting up with trees, I bought male and female slaves, I acquired stewards, I also acquired more cattle, both herds. I further amassed silver and gold and treasures of kings and provinces, and I got myself male and female singers, as well as the luxuries of commoners, coffers and coffers of them. Thus, I gained more wealth than anyone before me in Jerusalem, and in addition, my wisdom remained with me.
I withheld from my eyes nothing they asked for, and denied myself no enjoyment. Rather, I got enjoyment out of all my wealth. And that was all I got out of my wealth. Then my thoughts turned to all the fortune my hands had built up, to the wealth I had acquired and won. And oh, it was all futile, in pursuit of wind. There was no real value under the sun. For what will the man be like who will succeed the one who is ruling over what was built up long ago? My thoughts also turned to appraising wisdom and madness and folly. I found that wisdom is superior to folly, that light is superior to darkness. A wise man has his eyes in his head, whereas a fool walks in darkness. But I also realized that the same fate awaits them both. So I reflected. The fate of the fool is also destined for me. To what advantage, then, have I been wise? And I came to the conclusion that that too was futile, because the wise man, just like the fool, is not remembered forever. For as the succeeding days roll by, both are forgotten. Alas, the wise man dies, just like the fool.
And so, sorry, it's really tiny. Well, yeah. And so I loathed life, for I was distressed by all that goes on under the sun, because everything is futile and pursuit of wind. So too I loathed all the wealth and was gaining under the sun, for I shall leave it to the man who will succeed me, and who knows whether he will be wise or foolish, and he will control all the wealth that gain by toil and wisdom under the sun. That too is futile. And so I came to the view with despair all the gains I had made under the sun. For sometimes a person whose fortune was made with wisdom, knowledge, and skill must hand on to be the portion of somebody who did not toil for it. That too is futile, and a grave evil. For what does a man get for all the toiling and worry that he does under the sun? All his days, his thoughts are grief and heartache, and even at night his mind has no respite. That too is futile.
There is nothing worthwhile for a man but to eat and drink and afford himself enjoyment with his means. And even that, I notice, comes from God. For who eats and who enjoys but myself? To the man, namely, who pleases him, he has given the wisdom and the shrewdness to enjoy himself. And to him who displeases, he has given the urge to gather and amass only for handing on to one who is pleased to God. That too is futile and pursuit of wind. A season is set for everything, a time for every experience under heaven, a time for being born and a time for dying, a time for planting and a time for uprooting the planted, a time for slaying and a time for healing, a time for tearing down, and a time for building up, a time for weeping and a time for laughing, a time for wailing and a time for dancing, a time for throwing stones and a time for gathering stones, a time for embracing and a time for shunning embraces, a time for seeking and a time for losing, a time for keeping and a time for discarding, a time for ripping and a time for suing, a time for silence and a time for speaking, a time for loving and a time for hating, a time for war and a time for peace. What value then can the man of affairs get from what he earns?
I have observed the business that God gave man to be concerned with. He brings everything to pass precisely at its time. He also puts eternity in their mind, but without men ever guessing, from first to last, all the things that God brings to pass. Thus I realize that the only worthwhile thing there is for them is to enjoy themselves and do what is good in their lifetime. Also that whenever a man does eat and drink and get enjoyment out of all his wealth, it is a gift of God. I realize too that whatever God has brought to pass will occur evermore. Nothing can be added to it, and nothing taken from it.
I held the drilling off until 11:30. They started at 9 o'clock. I said, don't drill, please. If they don't start drilling, they cannot finish today. Singapore Union rules. Forgive me, God.
And God has brought to pass that men revere him. What is occurring occurred long since, and what is to occur occurred long since, and God seeks the pursuit. And indeed, I have observed under the sun, alongside justice there is wickedness, alongside righteousness there is wickedness. I mused, God will doom both righteous and wicked, for there is a time for every experience and for every happening.
So I decided, as regards men, to associate them from divine beings and to face the fact that they are beasts. For in respect of the fate of man and the fate of beast, they have one and the same fate. As the one dies, so dies the other, and both have the same life breath. Man has no superiority over beast, since both amount to nothing. Both go to the same place, both seem to be dust, and both return to dust. Who knows if the man's life breath does rise upward and if the beast's breath does sink down into the earth? I saw that there is nothing better for man than to enjoy his possessions, since that is his portion. For who can enable him to see what happens afterward?
Okay, I don't think we can compete with the drill, but I think it's a text that's worth reading in its entirety. It takes us out of our homes a little bit, out of the security of knowing what we're doing in our lives, which sometimes we seem to do, and reminding us that everything is really up for grabs. If someone would like to read the beautiful passage in chapter 12 about old age, who'd like to have a go? Barry, I think you're next. So would you read for us? Chapter 12.
Appreciate your vigor in the days of your youth, before those days of sorrow come and those years arrive, of which you will say, I have no pleasure in them, before sun and light and moon and stars grow dark, and the clouds come back again after the rain. When the guards of the house become shaky, and the men of valor are bent, and the maids that grind grow few or idle, and the ladies that peer through the windows grow dim, and the doors of the street are shut, with the noise of the handmill growing tender, and the song of the bird growing feebler, and all the strains of music dying down. When one is afraid of heights, and there is terror on the road, for the almond tree may blossom, the grasshopper tree burden, and the paper bush may bud again, the man sets out for his eternal abode, with mourners all around in the street. Before the silver cord snaps, and the golden bowl crashes, the jar is shattered in the spring, and the jug is smashed at the cistern, and the dust returns to the ground as it was, and the life breath returns to God who bestowed it. Utter futility, said Kohelet, all is futile. That's my being called, I guess. A further word, because Kohelet was a sage, he continued to instruct the people. He listened to and tested the soundness of many maxims. Kohelet sought to discover useful sayings and recorded genuinely truthful sayings. The sayings of the wise are like goads, like nail sticks in prodding sticks. They were given by one shepherd. A further word, against them my son be warned. The making of many books is without limit, and much study is the wearying of the flesh. The son of the matter, when all is said and done, revere God, observe his commandments, for this applies to all mankind, that God will call every creature to account for everything unknown, be it good or bad. The son of the matter, when all is said and done, the son of the matter, when all is said and done, revere God, observe his commandments, for this applies to all mankind.
Thanks very much. So do take your copies home and have a read of Kohelet this Sukkot. It's not a text we come across very often in its entirety, so I think it's good to take the chance to have a read. Okay, we're going to conclude our service with big singing voices. We're on page 374. Please rise. יהללו את שם אדוני, כי נשגב שמו לבדו. הודו לארץ ושמיים, ויעלם קרן לעמו. תהילה לכל חסידיו, לבני ישראל עם קרובו. הללויה, הללויה. We think of those we've lost this past year in our community Malka bat Leza Bachaya, Shalom Berman, David Rabin, Leah bat Yoshua Lamasha Gil, Isa Zev Ben Shregar, Stephanie Gray, Samuel Gershik, Israel Stern, Moshe Ben Simcha Boni Halevi Begonda, Yehuda Tzvi Ben Nachum, Hinda Malka bat Yosef, Bina Ben Yamina bat Moshe, Rachel bat Baruch, Yoshua ben Avraham, and Helen Miller. We also think of the victims of the attack on the synagogue in Hara in Germany on Yom Kippur, and it's also a year since the tragedy in the terrorist attack in Pittsburgh. David is going to talk to us about later. And as I said before, we also think of Rabbi Lee Diamond. And Neil, would you say a few words about Rabbi Diamond before the Kaddish?
I lived in Hong Kong for a number of years and was fortunate to know all the rabbis, and the community actually was very fortunate over the years in having a number of very well-known rabbis come through for a while, a year or longer. And Lee Diamond was our rabbi in the early 2000s. Now, many of the rabbis that came through actually were not pulpit rabbis. They came from different settings, academic or otherwise. And Lee unfortunately passed away about 3 days ago, suddenly of a heart attack in Israel, where he lived. He was originally American and had moved to Israel many years ago. And I wanted just to kind of talk about him for a minute, because he became not just beloved, all the rabbis in Hong Kong were beloved. Lee became the emeritus rabbi actually after he left. And I think there are many reasons for that. Lee was a child of the 60s. Lee was a very socially conscious, not just dedicated, but I remember going to listening to him to his apartment in Hong Kong, and he got more enjoyment from singing "We Shall Overcome." That was a sort of where he came from and what he believed in. But I also have a vivid memory, of course, of him leading the services, his tallis wrapped around him, his eyes closed, full-throated, and able to just lead the community. Okay.
Turn the speaker.
For those of you that couldn't hear me,
turn the speaker this way.
Can you hear me now?
No.
That community went through actually a difficult time too. We had one young boy in the community who nearly died, and the community got together at an old hospital in Aberdeen. It was a cardiac hospital, and we would do services in the stairwell, day after day, week after week, month after month. And Lee was there. Lee was there for the community. There was another unfortunate incident that brought everyone together. It was a killing, and a notorious one, and made headlines when it shouldn't have, but did. And one of the things, and I thought about this, that and I'm standing here next to a rabbi, obviously, but what does a rabbi do? Don't answer that. But there are a number of factors of being a teacher, of being a leader, of being spiritually observant, of trying to be a tzaddik. Not just being a shomer shabbos, but somebody who is generous and kind, somebody who can give counsel. And one of the things that struck me about Lee was in Hebrew it's achut, which is unity. It's togetherness. And he was able to bring everyone together. He was a very welcoming, warm, which of course you can say that about a number of people. But to do that within a community, to do that in a Jewish community, spiritually, religiously, community-wise, he made an impression on a number of people. As anyone would, he moved back to Israel after he finished in Hong Kong, but remained the emeritus rabbi and stayed involved. And I guess what I just wanted to say, those of you that probably wouldn't know him and may not know what the legacy was for the rabbinate in Hong Kong, he left a huge, indelible mark. You know, in Judaism also, even though we all commemorate birthdays, you know, everywhere, but there's a commemoration of Yartzeit too. That's where you light a candle. Why do you light a candle there? Because it's only whether you know whether someone's life has been worthwhile after they die. When you're born, you don't know. But the measure is taken after that, whether someone's life, his or hers, has been worthwhile. And I think for Lee, there's no question, absolutely, that for his family, for his community, for Israel, but even for the world, he left a huge, huge, huge mark.
Zichron Livracha, may his memory be a blessing. Let's say the Kaddish together.
יתגדל ויתגדל שמי רבה, וירמה ויברח וירצה ימליך מלכותי, וחי יכון וימכון, וחיי כל בית ישראל, וידע בזמן חיי ודיברו אמן, יהי שמי רבה ורב ורם רמי המאיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, יתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי בקדושה בריקוד. ואליו למכור ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, אבירן ויעלמה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלמה בנו שמיה, וחי מלך על כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום עמך ויעשה שלום, ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן.
Please be seated. I invite now David Heyman to compete against the drill with a few words on behalf of our president.
Okay, to compete with the drill, I'm gonna, instead of going to the front, I'll try to stand among us. So first of all, good Shabbos, everyone. Yoni asked me to say a few words this morning, and I wasn't really sure why he asked me, other than, you know, he's busy this morning and not here. But I thought maybe it's because we're coming up on 1 year to the tragic shooting in Pittsburgh. And I first came to UHC services on November 3rd last year. A week after the shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue. I grew up 45 minutes outside of Pittsburgh, and the other Jewish kids that I knew were from going to Young Judea in Pittsburgh. And the reason is because the only other Jew in my school was my sister, right? And I was really envious. I was jealous of these kids because they were going to a school, it was a city public school, and it was 40% Jewish. And so on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, there was no school. Right, I had to explain to my teachers and make up homework and make up work and things like that. But for them, it was it was relatively easy to be Jewish. Eventually I ended up moving to Israel. I lived in Israel for 22 years because I wanted my children to experience that simply the holidays are the holidays, right, or the Jewish holidays. And many of those friends of mine from Pittsburgh are today members of Tree of Life and Dor Chadash, and a very good friend of mine is the Director of Education for the Tree of Life Synagogue. So when I heard the news first, thing I did was reach out to my friends to make sure that they were okay, maybe a bizarre word, but to make sure they weren't injured, or worse. Fortunately, none of them actually were in synagogue that morning. Over the course of that work, I really struggled because I didn't really have anyone around me to sort of share that experience with. So I moved here about 8.5 years ago, so at that point 7.5 years or so. And having come from 22 years in Israel, I was Israeli, so I lived the Jewish life. Like I didn't really feel that I needed community. So for the first 7.5 years I was here, I didn't really connect with anyone. And I had some Israeli friends and colleagues, but the experience is very different, right? The diaspora Jewish synagogue experience. Now, a few weeks earlier, my wife and I had gone to dinner at a friend of hers house, a Thai woman who actually had worked at her office before her. And at their house, it turned out that her husband was a French Jew. And they actually had invited someone else along who was American, who also turned out to be Jewish. So we got talking about Judaism here in Singapore and UHC, and his wife had done the Intro to Judaism course, and my wife was intrigued. And so, although this seed had been planted, I really didn't do anything. And then a little while later, I was at a UHC Internations networking event that Jeremy had put together at the American Club, and I met Carrie, but I still hadn't done anything. And then after the tragedy, I reached out to Carrie, and he gave me the details of Shabbat here at the Goldsteins a year ago. Now that was the first of many, many events that we would come to participate in. We've been here many times for Shabbat services. I'm a semi-regular for the Minyan on Thursday mornings. Been to some great lunch and learns through UHC. Helped a week at the Sunday school and helped to build the sukkah. And my wife and I have discovered another couple of Thai couples. There's actually a little mafia of Thai Jewish couples here in UHC forming. And through all of this with the rabbi sermons, I've come to sort of re-examine my relationship with God and my relationship with our rituals and all of that. And so that tragedy actually led to me discovering a warm and welcoming community. As it turns out, that's not why Yoni asked me to speak. So actually, he simply needed a new face to remind us all that UHC exists because of all the people that volunteer and give time and very importantly give money to UHC. And so whether it's taking up leadership positions and volunteering to organize activities and things of that nature, all of these things are important in order to keep our community going. And without this, our community can't survive. And so as we come towards the annual general meeting and towards the end of the year, it would be helpful if we can all sort of look into ourselves and think, what are we doing to help the community keep going? And remember that the community is important for many different people, for people that have been in Singapore for many years and built their lives here. Those who are just sort of passing through, and of course those who think they're passing through, but they'll find themselves 15 years from now saying, I just came here for a year or two, and here I am. I'd also like at this time to ask you to reach out to Yoni and Carrie and Scott and others, with your ideas of how you can contribute to the community, and they stop the drilling, so they realize how important this is, and also to get ideas from them as far as how we can all contribute. I'd also like at this point to thank our musicians and the gabais and everyone who's contributed to the service today, and of course to Harvey and Rosita.
No, Rosita.
For your generous contributions actually enable us to have these services here, and of course the labor of love that Rosita provides with the wonderful kiddush that makes it so special. And so thank you all for being a part of the community, and Shabbat Shalom.
We're almost at Kiddush, but we have maybe another
Just one really quick school announcement. So school comes back together on November 3rd after a lengthy school holiday and religious holiday break. We are still looking for a new co-chair to replace Anne, whose term is coming up. Please lend to what he was just speaking about. If you have the time and the interest in helping out at this school, we would really appreciate somebody to stand up. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Noah. We should say that Sukkot is coming. Oh, sorry, Javi. Please.
Suddenly has turned quiet. I would like to thank God and the owners of the property upstairs, David and Karen, when they came down here to join us for Kiddush just minutes ago. David and Karen gave the instruction to stop drilling. So with the prayers to God, we thank David and Karen. Also welcome Kieran and Jean, who are our guests. Jean and Kieran. And Andre Vasalim, all the way from Indonesia today. And Caroline, Martin Fox's mother. We know Martin Fox and Mommy. Are you here, Mom? Oh, you're here. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Javi. Just to say that Sukkot is coming to an end, but it's not quite the close of the holiday season. We'll be celebrating Simchat Torah Monday morning, 7:30 in the UHC office, and then the largest celebration next Friday at the American Club from about 6:30 onwards. Our Simchat Torah celebration with hakafot, Torah reading, sweets, whiskey, all the rest of it. Please do sign up for the American Club next Friday night. We have a lunch and learn next Thursday, and then one the following Tuesday. The first one is on it's the father of Guillaume Lévy-Lambert, one of our members, who's talking about his role building a museum of Sephardi Jewry in Paris. And then the following Tuesday we have the Israeli ambassador, the new Israeli ambassador to Singapore, who will be talking to us about the state of the Middle East. So we all look forward to that. Please do sign up. And we of course have next Saturday Eva's bat mitzvah, which we're looking forward to too. Please sign up for that as well, so the family know who's coming. And big thank you to Eva, to Vanessa, to Alexander for leading us, and to Peter for leading Hallel, to our musicians, as has been said, and to our gabbis. Thank you all. So let's finish with Adon Olam. Dan, you're going to lead us. Page 625, 625.
Adon Olam, Hashem Olam, B'Tem Kol, B'Tzem Yivram, B'Nassan, B'Sofot, Azay Melech, Shelo Nikar,
Let's make Kiddush. The wine, the waitress is coming round. Please be upstanding.
Someone is online. Someone is online.
Good. Hello, someone.
They're seeing your belly.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. זכרו את יום השבת לקדשו, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. As I said earlier, today our sukkah is edible, but we should still say the blessing for sitting in the sukkah in anticipation of eating it. So let's be seated and say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishem mitzvotav v'tzivanu leshev b'sukkah. Amen. And then we have the blessing for bread. Where are the kids? Kids, Eva, you're still a kid, one last week.
Kids, see the bread.
It's all recorded.
At the front.
Be nice.
So the kids come forward, Vanessa. Yeah.
E flat. That's straight and stone.
Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Okay, break that fallow and then share it with everybody. Make a piece off and share it with everybody.
He was, you know, just one of these people I thought.
Ahora, voy a pasar, voy a hacer los acordes porque lo paso. Muy buenísimo.
Muchos acordes.
I was thinking about
The milkshake.
Shalom.
Yeah, it's from here now. Yeah, this is right there.
I recognize your voice from afar.
Gabriel.
He did on purpose. He said, he did on purpose.
I work all night, Nathan, to get the chords.
Sorry?
I work all night to get the chords to the
We're supposed to sleep the whole night, then you
I know. Well, only one night. What are you complaining about?
I'm staying there for 3 years.
That's true, you're right.
Next time, always take the microphone.
We don't know.
I know.
You can make it. My son is like 32. Finishing his master's. University in Sweden.
That's a good one.
Yes, that's okay. So, yeah, good university. He's happy. He's university for master. Yeah, I know. That's the opposite when I arrived.
Only notice about an hour. The word next time.
Because here, the ceiling is low and there's a lot of pictures. So your voice goes really slightly. With a lot of voice to get to the rear.
We'll do the little one after lunch.
I'm actually relieved because we didn't rehearse. I mean, it's not that trivial.
Next time when there's something, I'll come to you the day before and rehearse.
Bobby, you going to explain to the French? Everyone can come over to the table, please.
Hold on. Mom, we can explain the food. She wants Rabbi. Could you get around for a photo, please? Photo shoot.
know what she wants.
Exactly where I need to be there.
And the grape juice is dairy free.
Sorry.
Fantastic. Let's gather around then for the photo.
Sorry.
Bobby, you have anything to say?
This took
Yeah,
7
we're
days
streaming
to
live.
prepare.
There's
About
someone in
7
line, I don't know
years
who
of
it is.
study and research.
Someone is watching.
So everything here is non-dairy. Even the butter is non-dairy. And she learned the trick. The coconuts and everything else. The beef is the strong. How many days you cure the beef? How many days was it?
6 days.
6 days the beef was cured from the kosher shop. So you don't get around for a picture tonight?
From Toronto.
Oh my God.
You have to get, the general's from here to here. Come on.
Smile.
Oh, there's more.
We may have a kid for
Banana, so really not complicated.
Okay. Interesting. It's everything's so
No, what this wasn't like
If you are visiting a place and that culture is approved, you can try that food and eat that food. No caffeine, mother's milk, or veal, just add everything. But that's where we fit. My problem is, I'm allergic to it, which knocks out about half the food in Singapore.
The Chinese food.
Yeah, all the Chinese food.
Food is very good.
So, even some Indian food, some no, some yes. So what we're struggling with is strict, just ridiculous rationalization or legitimate compromise to start allowing shellfish while we're here. Right? I can't figure out if I'm rationalizing it away because I want to eat it, or if I'm out of food and I gotta eat something and letting very hard to dress in this misconception. So that's where we are.
Stand by yourself. It's hard for me to imagine a diet that would require you say to yourself.
It's, that's the problem. This is what, I could go and eat rice. And rice is always good. I could go anywhere with nothing but rice, and I'd be fine. But there's a big part of me that doesn't want to do that. It's so miserable just to eat rice. So, anyway, food for thought, so to speak.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting that As a rabbi, do I think it's a good thing? No, of course not. I don't think so.
This is really more than I thought it would be. Fried dishes. You must be very hungry.
Want a spoon too, or?
I could miss the APJ.
Super park. And they've got like unbelievable. It's 2 floors, 2 floors. There's a trampoline park in there. There's a frisbee golf, course. Frisbee golf. Indoor frisbee golf course. Real like standard
ammunition
you had to pay like the full price as an adult to go in, so I just looked in through the window, but they had the basket, like, the basket we got. It looked like the real deal. I should have bought it when I saw it. It had a set of like frisbee golf, frisbees, and they've got like you've got your driver, you've got your putter, and they're all like there's a whole set of different sizes. The ultimate frisbee one is 180 grams. How are you?
Slowly we're beginning to with rotating munitions.
Good.
So next week we have someone else playing.
I used to have this part right across the way. Perfect place to play frisbee. It's just a massive rectangle of grass, but on the edges of the park, instead of running into a curve with the road, there was like a gradual incline for about 20 steps before it got. So you could run as hard as you could, as fast as you could, looking over your shoulder, waiting for a frisbee to run in, without fear of running into traffic. So it was like they could have designed it better for people who wanted to chase frisbees. Run 3 hours in a row.
Oh, I did that. When I first moved to, we would walk on Saturdays to this park.
Like I bought baseball gloves for them, which is really hard to find anywhere. I buy them. And then I like take my kids outside, 5 minutes of playing catch.
That's my guess.
Yeah, I know. All right. I can do it online, right?